Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of this SAP Basis training. In this session, we will discuss about time-based background job scheduling. So we already know what is time-based background job scheduling. In time-based background job scheduling, we have different types of time-based background job scheduling. The first one is the immediate start. We've seen this briefly before. Let's say you want to schedule a background job which you want to start immediately, then you can define this as an immediate start. That means this particular job does not wait for the specific time. That's what our requirement. We want to start this immediately. However, the immediate start job also can be scheduled as a periodic jobs. Periodic job means a job which needs to be executed on a frequency which is given by us. It can be hourly or daily, weekly. Based on the definition, we can rerun this job on this period. That is immediate start. And we have another option which is called at a particular time and date. This also we can define it as one time job, once it has to run, or we can run it periodically. That means periodic means we can schedule this job which needs to be run in as frequency of period. Let's go to the system and start scheduling the job, then we can understand this more better. So how do we schedule a job? So first of all, let's see our program. Let's take the program SC38. Let's take the program RS Param. Okay, this is a program which you wanted to schedule in the background. Instead of RF Param, we will take another program. Okay, we will take this program because this program have spool output which we have seen it before. If you execute it, and this also gives a same result. Okay, let's use this program because this program also have this selection criteria. So let's take this program. So let's assume I want to schedule this program. Okay, so when you run this program or when you run this transaction code, okay, this can be run as a transaction code. The program as well as the T code are same. Okay, you go to SC38. Let's say if you go to the /n, put as a T code RSP FPAR RSPFPAR. This is the transaction code. When you run this transaction code, here you can specify, let's say you wanted to specify star, then it will display all the parameters which is available in the system. Okay, you can also filter it by some selection criteria. Let's say for RFC, then you can specify. It will display only the selection criteria which you have selected. That is the advantage of this particular program. So how do we know which program is linked to what transaction code? We can go by this status, as well as, let's say I know the program or I know the transaction code, but I want to know what is the program for this. Instead of running the transaction code, we can go to the table, go to SC16, and there is a table called TSTC. Okay, TSTC. This is very famous table. If you go to this table, you can find transaction code and program. So this have the relation between the transaction code and the programs. So if I put the transaction code here, RSPF PAR, the transaction code which you wanted to see what is the program, and I execute, then you can see the program is blank. That meaning to say the transaction code and the program is same. Okay, let's put another transaction code, SU01 for example. This is a transaction code. I want to see the program. You can see this is the program called by SU01. Okay, so like this you can see the relation between the program and the transaction code. The table for it, that is TSTC. Okay, so we will use this program to schedule. So this particular program, at the moment we have some input. So if you schedule this program, we may not get the output. Actually in this program we will get the output. The main simple reason is that without the selection criteria we can still get the output. Okay, we can still schedule this program, so that's not a problem. In another programs, because you need to have some selection criteria here. However, let's assume this program need an input. So how do we handle that one? As we seen, we can schedule the program, we can schedule the background jobs in SM36. However, we can also schedule the jobs, background jobs, or meaning to say we can also run these programs from as background from the transaction code itself. For example, right now this is the program which I want to run. Without any selection criteria I can still get the output. I want to run this program in background. Okay, so how do we run that? You go to the programs and you can see options. If you say execute, then it's executed. Yeah, then we have the next option, execute and print. Then it will be printed. It will go to the printer. Then you select the printer, then it will be printed. The output will be printed. Now I will say execute in background. Okay, when I say execute in background, here also, as we said, we need to select the output device. This output device is only for temporary output. That means this will be created as a spool request. However, it will not be printed immediately. Okay, this can be printed if you like, but this is just a selection to make sure that output is created, because you need to specify an output device. Okay, let me select an output device LP01, and we have a information. This is the format which is going to be used. When you select here, you can see different selection criteria. The first one we wanted to see is immediate. If I say immediate, then you can see here immediate start. Okay, so if I say check, that means all the selection criteria which you have given here is being checked, validated. It's just a validation. Then we save. So when you save, what happens is it will create the background job. Okay, when I save, now it says the background job was scheduled in the program name RSPFPAR. Okay, so what we have seen in our previous sessions, how do we monitor the job, is using the transaction code SM37. Okay, we go to the transaction code SM37. So we go /n SM37. The SM37, you have different selection criteria. You can specify the job name, you can specify which user which is scheduled, and you can specify also job status. This we already seen, what is the different type of job status. We can also filter it based on that, and we can specify the job condition, the date and the time of the specific jobs. And we have another selection criteria or on an event. You have different event. This is standard events which is from SAP. Also we can select that. Okay, so from here actually blank, we don't have any event. Or if you want to search for a specific program, also possible. Okay, so in our case the user which we have used is SAP Basis. That's what we know. The job name, let's select star, and this specific day, that is today's date. Okay, let's execute. Then you can see this particular program is being executed. It's finished. Okay. Now let's say I want to see what is the output of this particular program. Then you can see this is the symbol for spool. Okay, so we have two outputs, that is spool output and the job log. Spool output is the output of the program. So right now I want to see what is the output of this program. So I will select this and go to the spool. We can see, yes, new spool is being created for this particular program. Okay, RSP FPAR underscore SAP. This is the list title which has been created for this printer. This list title basically is an auto generated title, and this is a spool number. Now if I wanted to see what is inside this spool, so select the spool, then you can see this is the output, okay, which is generated. This is the one which is run before. Right now what we run is, yeah, the second one without selection criteria. Let me select this one and go to the spool. You can see quite a lot of information here. The same information which displayed right now, it's a spool output. Okay, you have a lot of information. Now it's created as a output, a spool output for the specific program. Let's assume if this program takes quite a long time, then this is the best way to schedule. This is first one, spool output. Let's say I wanted to check the log of this particular program, how this is being done. Then we select and go to the job logs. Here you can say job was started. The step 1 started the program. This is the program, this is the variant. Variant means what kind of input you have given. These variants are automatically created because we went to the transaction code. From there we try to run the program. So it created one variant based on our selection criteria. Okay, and the user who run this program is SAP Basis. So we have two users here. Here we have SAP Basis, and we have the user who run this, who created this program, is also SAP Basis. Meaning to say, we can run a program under a different user ID. Okay, so the user ID who is creating the program may have, who is running the program, no, the user ID who is scheduling the program may be an basis consultant who have authorization to schedule a program. However, the basis consultant may not have authorization to run specific business transaction. In that case, you can run that specific program under a different user ID who has authorization to run the specific program. Okay, so we can run it under a different user ID. Okay, then you can see there is, it says incorrect printer parameters, though the output selection was incorrect. Okay, that's a log it gives, and the spool request 4824 is created without immediate output. So you can see the log of this particular program, how this has been executed. Okay, this is very important for us sometime to diagnose what is the problems if in case the job is not running properly. So let's go back, and we have many other selection criterias. We will come to that again. Okay, now we have seen how to schedule start immediately from the specific transaction code or from the program. Now let's say I wanted to schedule this program from SM36. How do I schedule this program? So let's say I wanted to schedule this program with a variant. Let's say I go to same transaction code, RSPFPAR. So I wanted to schedule it for rdisp rfc. Okay, how do I schedule this? So for this, you can, this input screen you can create as a variant. Okay, so there is different types of variant you can create. So let's see one by one. Go to SE38, and this is the program which we are talking about. If you go to SE38, you can see the selection saying that variant. Okay, you have source code, you have variant, attributes, and documents and text elements. Source code, if you keep it in source code and say display, then you can see what is the program. And if you select variant, where you can create variants for this program. So right now, if I select the variant, if I see we have different variants here. Okay, these are all the variants which is already there. So if I select one of this variant, you can say display, then you can see what is the variant says. It says selection screen, this particular screen profile parameter, and from auth/star. It says like that. So what we want, that we want to create our own variant which says, let's say if I go to execute, only this selection criteria. Okay, so if you want to create that variant, we say variant, then say change. Here you will create a new variant. Say create, say z rfc basis. Okay, this is a variant which you want to create. Then it will take you to the particular program. It's a maintain variant for this report, and this is a variant name. So what we wanted to maintain, say this is the one is the variant which you want to create, and you can also specify the attributes, what kind of attributes you want to specify. Let's say this is the RFC parameters for basis training. Okay, now we have created this variant. I will save it. Okay, now we created the variant and we saved the variant in this specific name. Like this, one program can have different variants. Okay, so let's come back. Okay, now we created a variant for this particular program. So using that variant, I wanted to see the display same like this when I'm scheduling the job. Okay, we can also schedule it like this from here. If you say background, then it will take this as a variant. However, the variant is a auto-generated variant which will not be available for you after that for maintenance purpose. So instead, you create a variant of your own. It will be quite easy if you want to maintain it later. So let's see how do we schedule in SM36. So go to the transaction SM36. Okay, now we need to specify a job name. This is first step for defining a job, is general information. So this job name, we will say basis training background job. Okay, and I will say 01. This is my job name. So job name is not the program name, it's just a name which can have different steps inside. Always when you design a concept for background jobs, keep a very good naming convention so that you can identify from this from the job what purpose this job is being run. In my opinion, that you can have a job name based on, it should start with your module, which module this belongs to, and then the submodule. If you have multiple company codes in your SAP system, then you can differentiate it by company code. Then you know which module it belongs to, which company it belongs to. So in a later stage, if you have thousands of jobs running, then it will be very helpful for you to segregate these jobs. Then you can let's say specify who is the owner of these jobs. Okay, so you have a proper naming convention, then you have some meaningful name what this particular program is about. Okay, so we specified the job name. Here you can see the job class. The job class, we have seen three different job class. Job class A, that is high priority. Job class B, that is medium priority. Job class C, that is low priority. So let's say, let's leave it like that. By default you can see it's coming as job class C. Then we have the execution target. We have seen 6 different classes based on the target. So if you don't specify the target, the system, the SAP system will decide which target server this should run. In our case, we have only one target server. If it is more than one target server, then the SAP system will decide which target server this particular background job supposed to run. That will be the best way in order to control the actual load of the system. However, in some cases we will specify the target server because that specific job should run in that specific, could be possibly because the database is installed in that server, or you have some specific application, maybe it's running on the application server which needs to be run on that specific application server. That could be the reason. Okay, so in our case, we don't specify any target server. We just leave it like that. Then you go to the steps. Now we need to define the steps. The first, we need to define the general information. We specified the general information. The second step is to specify the steps. If you go to steps, in steps you can see first one is user. Which user this program is going to run. Okay, right now we just leave it as default. The SAP basis, this is the user which we are using to run this specific program. Okay, and we are using the same user to schedule this program. At the moment we just leave it like that. Then the program values, you can be an ABAP program, external command, or external program. Right now it's an ABAP program. Okay, the ABAP program, this thing is grayed out. If you say external command, then you can specify external command here. If it's an external program, we can specify the external program here. Okay, so right now it's an ABAP program. We just leave it like this at the moment. So we just first see the ABAP program, then the program which you wanted to run is, this is the program. Okay, then we can select the variants in this program. If you select, you can see all the variants. You can see the variants which we have created. Or is that Z underscore RFC underscore basis. Let's select this, and we can also select the language. Let's say check. It's always select the check. Let's say if you use the check, then it will validate the inputs. Let's say I removed one of the character here. If I say check, it will check and say the variant BASIC is invalid. So it will validate your input. So always use the check. Okay, basis. So let's say basis. Okay, check. Now everything is okay. Now save. Okay, now we have created a step. Now this particular program have only one step. You can see this is a program, and this is an ABAP program, program type, it's an ABAP program, and this is the parameters. That means this is the variance or the parameter for the program, or the input for this program we can call, which will be used while running this program. And this is the user, and this is a language. And if you want to add additional steps, you can create it here. So right now let's make it simple. We have only one program. Let's say once you finish, you come back. Okay, now we define the steps. The third portion is to define the start condition. Okay, let's go to the start condition. Right now we simply execute immediate and check, and we save. Okay, again you need to save this again. Okay, that is to save the start condition. Now this is to save the particular job, particular background job. Let's say save. Now you can see job basis tr underscore background underscore rspfpar underscore 01 is saved with the status released. It's already released. Okay, let's go back. Now I go to transaction code S/N SM37 and execute. Now you can see this is the job which we have created and this already finished. So I will open this and check the spool. What is the output? Now we can see the spool output is created. You can see this is the output based on the selection criteria which we have run. Based on the selection criteria which we have created the variant. Okay, let's go back. This is how we can create the immediate start of programs. Okay, however, let's assume, however, how do we know when this kind of program should be scheduled by the SAP? For that we have a parameter. If we go back to our presentation, you can see rdisp/btc time. Okay, if we understand what this parameter does, then we understand this more better. For example, we said start immediate. So how does the SAP system knows what all the jobs should be started immediately? Or let's assume when we said start immediate, there is no work process available, background work process available. So this particular work, the program cannot be executed immediately. So it has to be kept on hold. So after some time, the SAP has to know what all the jobs which is created as start immediately. Okay, in our case it's different. We had this background work process which is free, so we do not have problems. So let's assume if the background work process is full and it's not available to start immediate, then it has to kept on hold. In that conditions, this particular parameter would be used to specify on what time period SAP need to check the programs which are all defined as a start immediate and which needs to be triggered. Okay, let's go back to the system. So let us go back to the system and go to reset 11. Then I specify the rdisp/btc time. A display. If you go to the documentation, it gives you the details. The default value is 60. That says start interval for background scheduler. So the scheduler, there is a program in SAP which runs every 60 seconds. Okay, this you can change, depends on the load in the system. You can change this value. So what it does is the SAP will check, or SAP will run a scheduler program every 60 seconds. So let's say if we started a job saying the start immediate, but that particular time you do not have any work process available, then it will be kept on hold. Then it goes back, the system will come back and start this scheduler again. That time it goes to the table in SAP where this particular jobs has been saved, and it goes and scans the whole table and see what are all the jobs supposed to be scheduled, and it will start scheduling it again. Okay, that is the use of this particular parameter. So if we go back to our presentation, you can see here using this particular parameter we can have load balancing as well. Meaning to say, if let's say you schedule the jobs without any target server, then the SAP system will check based on this particular parameter value. It will, when it rerun the specific program to reschedule the jobs, it will see which are all the instances which is presently available free, then it will reallocate to the specific instance. So like that you can have load balancing in the background job itself. Okay, this is a very interesting feature. So you can also increase the time of this particular parameter so that the execution of the program is execution of the particular job scheduler is increased. So this also helps you to have load balancing in SAP system, which is even scheduled as immediate in case of background jobs. Then let us have a look into how we can schedule the particular date and time jobs. Okay, let's go back to the system. Go to SM36. Okay, let's create the next job which you want to schedule it for a specific date and time. Okay, let's say basis training background job RSPFPAR 02. Okay, this is our second job which we are going to create. Now we go to step 2, that is define the steps. Here we will specify the same, or let's take other example as standard variant which is already available. Say check and save, and this time let's add one more variant. We have two variants. We have authorization, SAP and authorization, and we want to schedule one more variant. Let's say as well as the variant which we have created. Okay, so we have two steps here. The same program runs with one variant first time and with another variant second time. Okay, let's go back. Now we want to define the start condition. Okay, the start condition is, let's say, date and time. Now if you go back and see, we wanted to see the system time right now. What is the exact time in the system? The system time and your desktop time may differ because you may be hosting the system in a different region. Probably that could be the reason. So it's always better to synchronize with your system time. Okay, system time in our case it is same, it is 12:11 and the PC time is 12:11. Okay, if in case you have the system hosted in a different place and the time is different, then you have to go based on the system time, not the PC time, not the SAP GUI time. Okay, so let's say today, this date, and the time is let's say 12:15:00. This time it should start, schedule start. Okay, now we selected this one and this is the time we wanted to start this job, and say check and save. Okay, now this has two steps defined successfully. Now I save this one. Okay, now you can see basis underscore tr underscore pg underscore rspfpar02 is saved and the status is released. Now let me go back and go to the transaction code SM37. SM37. This is the transaction code which we will be using to monitor the background jobs. So the job name we selected start. This is a user, and we will leave all the status as it is because we at the moment this job is release jobs. So let's execute, and this date, today's date, let's execute. Now you can see the job number 02, the basis tr background rspfpar02 is released. Okay, it's in the release stage. So when you want to see the actual stage, you have to press the refresh, and this will not this is very important. The status will not change automatically until unless you select refresh, then only it will change. So it's not real time, so you have to use refresh in order to check the actual status of the job. Okay, so let's say now at the moment the time is 12:14. Keep refreshing. So based on what we have seen before, the released state has to go to ready state before assigning to the work process. However, in our case, since we do not have any much background jobs running, it will immediately assign to the work process, so that you may not be able to see the ready state in our case. Now if you can see here, we already crossed the time. You can see delay in seconds. This particular job is already, it should have been released, it should have been changed to active, but there is some delay that you can see here. There is some delay in that particular job. Okay, now it's finished. It's a very simple job, it's finished, but you can see here there was a delay on changing the status of this particular job from release to ready or active. Okay, that is the delay which is specified here, and this is a very simple job, so it's finished so fast, so we couldn't really see what is the status in the middle. So now if we want to see the start time and the end time, okay, the duration also is 0. If in case you wanted to see the start time and end time, then we have that layout change. Here you can specify what kind of layout you wanted to see. We have start time and end time here, and let's say we have start date and start time, but we wanted to add start end date and end time. Okay, in that case I will add here. Let's say now it is in the last, so I wanted to bring it up. So I want to keep it here. In that case I will say select this like this and say here, then it comes up. Okay, then I will say copy. In this case you can see the start date, start time, and end date and end time, so you can see how much time it took. Okay, and you can also see, for example, what is the job class this particular job was run. We don't know. In that case also we can add the job class, say for example here, copy. You can see all the jobs are run under job class C. Okay, like this you can change the layout. Okay, and so right now we executed this job which had two steps. Let's go to the spool and see how it looks like. So we have two spools which is created, 7826 and 7827. Okay, we have two spool. Okay, if I select this and say spool and 7826, and this is the output of the first spool, authorization slash, then it slash star was the first input, and this is the output of that. And the second spool was this one, say open this, then this is the second output. Okay, so it executed two times and it created two different outputs. Let's say all spool. Okay, so for example, I don't know what was the selection I did here. Okay, in that case, if you select here, go to and say variant, then you can see the variant which you have selected. The from selection criteria was authorization slash star. Like this you can also display the variants if you, in case that you wanted to see what was the selection criteria this was run. Okay, and if I go back and say the next one and say go to variant, and you can see rdisp slash rsv star. That was the selection criteria. So we have two different steps was executed and two different output was created. Okay, now let's see how we can schedule a periodic job. Okay, let's go to SM36. Let's say basis underscore tr underscore background rs pfpar underscore 03. Okay, then go to the start condition, then select some variant, let's say only this variant, and check and save. So we finished our second step. Then go back and select the start condition. So this particular job I want to run in a specific, I want to run in a specific time interval periodically. So in that case what we can do, let's say start date and time, and we specify a date, let's say today's date. I want to start, now it is 12:32. I want to start with 12:40. Okay, and you can also see another option called no start after. This means, let's say you want to run a program in the specific time period. However, you do not want this program to run after this specific time. Let's say this has to be run in this time frame only, and after this, if the time frame, if it cannot be started within this time frame, then it should not start. Okay, in that case you can specify the no start after date and time. Okay, so it will run for some period. Let's say you want to run this program every 10 minutes, but you don't want to run this program after 1 month. Then what we can do is we can specify the date. Okay, the 6:015, then this particular time. Okay, then this program will not run after this specific date and time. Okay, that's what it means. So once you select the date and time, then you can see a checkbox here. It's a periodic job or a one-time job. So far what we have seen is a one-time job. So once you select this tick mark, then this is a periodic job. Now we need to define the periodic value. Okay, then you go to the periodic value. Say the date format is incorrect, somewhere it is incorrect. okay, yeah, it's here. It's 11 colon 12 colon. Okay, so let's go to the periodic value. Oops. 11 dot. Okay, only in the time it is colon, the date it is dot. When you select the periodic value, you can see hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. Let's say you want this particular program to run every hour, then you can select hourly. So if you want to run this program daily, then you can select daily. That means right now we scheduled for 12:40. If I select hourly, then the next run will be 13:40, then 14:40. If I say daily, then this particular program will run tomorrow on the same time. Okay. If I say weekly, today is Monday, then next week Monday, this time this will run again. Then if I say monthly, right now the date is 11th, the next month 11th, in this particular time it will run again. So you can also specify other period. This is to make it easy. You can simply select hourly, then it run every hour. Or if you want to specify a different time apart from what is here, then you can select the period. Let's say you wanted to run it every 10 minutes. So then you select other period where you can say months. Let's say I want to run instead of monthly, I want to run every alternate month. Let's say 2 months. So every alternate month, after every 2 months, it will run this program. Okay. So instead of weekly, if I say I wanted to run bi-weekly, then if I say 2, then it will skip 1 week. The next week again this Monday it will run it again. And the same like this, you can specify the days. You can also specify hours, and you can also specify the minutes. Okay, this is for other period. In order, this is for other period to specify, explicitly specify these values. Okay, so in our case what we will do, say yes, I wanted to only do hourly, check and save. Okay, now if I say check again and save it. Okay, now you can see the period start plan. It's going to start on this date and this time, and you can see the frequency is hourly, and it should not start after 1 month. This should not run at all. Okay, that is the condition which we have defined, and it has only one step. Now if I save it, now you can see this particular job has been released. Now if I go back, go to yes M37 /n, yes, M37, and execute. Now the job is waiting. So if you want to see the detail of the job, simply double click, then you can see the detail of the job. Okay, any job you can simply double click and see the detail. So let's wait for this particular time which is going to release again. So this is a periodic job, every hour it has to run. So right now this has to run in a specific time. That if you see here, it does not have the date and time when it is scheduled, because it's a periodic job. So you need to go and check when it's going to run, what is the frequency of the job. Okay, that's the reason we do not have the start date and start time. Otherwise we will have the start date and start time if we are explicitly starting on the specific time and it's scheduled for only one time. The reason behind that is once this particular hourly job has been triggered, then it will schedule the same job again for the next hour. That's what we are going to see. So let's wait for this job to start. Now it's already 40. Now it's still making some delays. The job scheduler is still not started. That's the reason we have these delays. Okay, now this is finished. Yeah, the job number 3 is finished. You can see it's finished successfully. Then you can also see the spool. Okay, this is what we want. And you can see one more job is created and it says released. Okay, now this is finished. If I select this or just simply double click here, and you can see the planned date before it was 12:40. Now it says 13:40. That means after 1 hour it is changed. Okay, it is scheduled after 1 hour again. Okay, so okay, like this it will keep scheduling this job. Okay, so there is one small mistake when we selected this one. The start condition is mainly applicable for the one-time job, because periodic job it cannot be applicable. So actually we should have removed it before that, but we just kept it. That's the reason you can see this start condition also keep changing. Okay, so start condition is mainly for one-time job, not for periodic job. Let's change it again. Let's change start condition. Yeah, so not start after is not for periodic jobs. Yeah, let's save it. Okay, not does not have not start. That is for one-time job. It's okay, because periodic job anyway the logically it should not be applicable, yeah, because you are running it for every period. Okay, now if you see, we did the change on this particular job when the job state is released. Okay, so when it is scheduled or when it is released, you can do changes in the particular job. Okay, if let's say it's finished, now if you wanted to change for this one, if I select and go to job and say change, we cannot change. You can say it cannot be modified due to the status. Okay, due to its status. That means when it is finished, you cannot be modified. This cannot be modified. But if it is released, we can still modify, same like what we did before. Go to change, sorry, select this and go to change, then we can modify this. Okay, let's say I wanted to change this to class B. We can modify. Now it is changed to class B. Okay, now let's say I have a program which is already run, or I have a job which is already run. Okay, this particular one, let's take this one. Okay, this had 2 different steps. I want to repeat this particular job again because it's already run, but I just want to repeat it. Okay, I want to run it again. In that case, you can copy the particular job. So what we do, you select and go to job and say copy. Okay, and remember, when you copy any job, it will go to scheduled status, not release status. Okay, say I will say copy 01. 02 was copied first time. Okay, now you can see job underscore br, job underscore tr underscore bg underscore, this is copied and status is scheduled. Okay, now if you see here, you cannot see the particular job because the selection criteria what we did is released, ready, active, finished and cancelled. Schedule was not selected. That's the reason you cannot see here. So you need to go back and select scheduled and execute. Now you can see scheduled appeared. Okay, if I say scheduled and released, you can see only scheduled and released. select all. I got all. Okay, now you can change this job. Now it is scheduled. The reason why it is scheduled, because it does not have start condition. If I go to this job, I select this job, I go to the change option, you can see the step is already there. The job program, what is the variant we should do, everything is already there. But if I go to the start condition, it's not there. So when you copy any job, the start condition is not copied. So you have to go back and define the start condition. That's the reason it is in schedule. So well, let's say I can put it immediate, check, save. Okay, now we can see it is ready. Okay, from schedule it should released and it went to ready and it's finished. Okay, this is the way you can copy a job or copy a background job. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Now let's see standard SAP jobs. What is standard SAP jobs? In SAP you have quite a lot of jobs which is standard jobs which needs to be run in SAP. So this can be automatically scheduled. So automatically scheduled in SM36. So how do we schedule the standard jobs? For basis consultant, this is very easy and very useful option, because there is a lot of standard jobs which you need to define. Okay, so in that cases we can use these options, SAP standard jobs. These standard jobs are mainly like kind of reorg jobs, and these are all you can see it's mostly system related jobs, as well as if you select some functional specific, then you can also see some functional specific jobs which can be scheduled. However, mostly these jobs are like cleanup jobs or reorg jobs, okay, or collecting statistics, these kind of informations. So let's see how we can define the standard jobs. This is already defined by SAP, and it's again depends on you. How do you want, whether you wanted to schedule and how do you want to schedule. Okay, each system you may have different ideas to do that. Okay, let's go to our SAP system. If you go to SM36, go to SM36, and here you can see the standard jobs. Okay, select the standard job. Right now this is a fresh system, so you do not have any standard jobs here. So what we need to do is default scheduling. When you click the default scheduling, then it gives you all the standard jobs which is presently available. It's basically all the standard jobs which are related to BC. Okay, so for example, CCM monitoring batch dispatcher. Okay, so CCM monitoring batch dispatching job. So you can also see this is the job name, the suggested job name, and you can see job information, and this is the report name which is going to be executor, and period is hourly, and there is no variant, and the job class which is suggested is C. So let's assume that you want to schedule this job. Then what you will do, you will say simply BC here. That is BC. We cannot find it. Let's say BC. Then the job name. Select the job name. That is the CCMS monitoring batch dispatcher. And we do not have a variant. If you have a variant, you can select the variant. In this particular program, you do not need to have variant. That's the reason we don't have it. If you want to specify the server, you can also specify, and you can run immediate, or you want to run it in the specific date and time, or if you want to run it in a periodic basis, you can also define it here. Same like what you do in SM36. In other screens, you can define the standard jobs from SAP in this particular screen. This is quite useful as a basis consultant. You can find the standard jobs which is already there. There's quite a lot of standard jobs is already there which you want to run. You can schedule it like that. Okay, for example, now we schedule it like that. Let me say save. The schedule already exists in the status released. Okay. Now the job is been released. Okay. So if you can see here right now, this is ready, it's running. If I go back, so SM37, the CCM batch job which is active now. Okay, now you can see this is active, it's running for some time. And let's say if you want to cancel this job, you can also select this and go to say cancel active job. Okay, or if you want to delete some job, let's say I don't want this job to run again, this is on hourly schedule, I don't want this to run again, I can select. So I don't want to run all these SAP jobs which is scheduled by me, so I can simply go and say select delete, then it will be deleted. Let's say because these jobs and are quite resource consuming, which will run every hour, I don't want to do that. I simply go and delete it and it will go gone. Right now this is active. Let's say I wanted to cancel this job, I can simply select and go to here and cancel active job. Yes, again this is depends on the program how you can cancel it or not. In many cases you cannot cancel it. In these type of cases, what you do that if let's say you wanted to cancel this particular job, what we can do is we can go to SM51 or SM66, go to SM66. You can see this job is already running. Okay, you can see this job, this is a background job. Right now this is stopped. Okay, and you can see which background job, how do we know this is the job which is running? Okay, so for this, if you go to select this one and job detail, if you select job detail, you can see this class C job and is running in this particular server, and this is the work process which is running. The work process ID is 12. Okay, like this you need to be very careful when you are canceling any job in the work process level. Okay, like here you can see this 12, and if I go back here you can see this is the number 12. The process ID for this particular job is 12. Okay, here it's 12. We try to cancel this in SM37, but this seems to be some very critical job which cannot be cancelled. So in case you definitely want to cancel this one, then you can cancel it from the work process level. So for that, what we need to do is you need to go to SM50. So in a different screen, I go to SM50. Okay, now there is a lot of jobs running. I don't know which is this job which presently occupying, which is the job which is running here. Okay, so how do I know which is the work process presently running this particular job? For that, you simply double click here. You can see a button called job details. If you select this, and here you have a lot of information: start date, schedule date, last change date, and who changed, and all this kind of information. Here you can see which client and which is the target server, which the application server it's running, and this is the WP number, work process number, that is the PID of the work process. So in this application server, work process ID 12 is running this particular job. Okay, so if I go to SM50, I need to find work process 12. Yes, work process 12. This is running some job. Presently the status is on hold. Okay, that's the reason you couldn't cancel it, maybe, I don't know, but let's assume I wanted to cancel this in any way. So what we can do is you select this and go to process and cancel with core or without core. With core is means with the details, without core is means no details. So if you do not want any further details of this particular job, then you cancel it without core. That will be best. Then it will ask you whether you want to terminate it. Say yes. Now it's gone. You can see it's gone. Okay, now let's go back to our SM37 and see what happened here. Let's go back and I will refresh. It says it's finished. Maybe the time when we executed, when we cancelled, by the time it was already finished. Okay, so when because we couldn't really do the refresh there, so probably that should have completed the time when we are trying to cancel the job. Okay, like that you can cancel it in the work process level. So, but you have to be very careful and go and check what is the work process which was running that particular program. Then you have to select that specific work process when you are cancelling it on work process level. Okay, with this we are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.